If you're a contractor looking to power multiple air nailers, and that includes roofing and framing nailers, or a guy at home who just wants a nice small 6-gallon compressor that can handle 4 CFM at 90 PSI, Metabo HPT came out with a new model that trumps the old model and has a lot of nice features. We're gonna go over this guy top to bottom, let you know its recovery time, talk about what it'll do, show you what it'll do, and just generally go over this in a full review. Stay tuned. Metabo HPT 6-gallon Pancake compressor is currently on the market for $199. This is model number EC914S, and I want to make sure if you're out there looking or Googling this, trying to find it at a good deal, that you look at the right compressor. Not only make sure that it is that model number and has the same specs that we're going to go over here in a minute, but it also has this style of foot on it. There is an older style Pancake compressor that looks very similar in Metabo HPT's line that is discontinued now, that has different feet that kind of curve around, and it's at a lesser price. I don't want you to pick that one up and think that you're getting the same one as this, or if you just need one that's not quite as robust as this unit, you could look at their older model and get it at a better deal. This unit here is very nice at 5.1 CFM at 40 PSI, 4.0 CFM at 90 PSI, and it is a 13.5 amp unit. Let's come in, take a good walk around this unit, and generally talk about what it has to offer. First important thing to mention about this model is it is oil free. So all the bearings inside are sealed, pre-lubed. That's going to be good or bad depending on how you feel about oil free compressors. You do have a regulator, so you can regulate your outputs. There are 2 outputs, 1/4-inch NPT behind these quick connects. You can easily regulate the pressure up and down to whatever you'd like to. 200 pounds max in this 6-gallon tank. Just as normal, you would have your overload here that you can push. It's a safety. If you want to drain the tank, it is next to one of the feet. So I would be fairly careful with this dude if you're throwing it in and out of a truck, that you don't hit this on some lumber or anything else. It is pretty robust, but if you want to drain the tank complete, you can just open that 1/4 turn valve and drain it. It does have a simple grounded plug with a fairly long cord that is about 7 feet long. You have your on and off switch on the top. In being a Pancake compressor, it is fairly small, easy to carry with this one handle up top. It's 41 pounds, so it's not overly heavy if you're going to carry it in and out of a structure. Especially if you're remodeling. This isn't something that you're gonna bang off of walls because it's so large. It just seems to fit inside and out. Generally looking around it, there's plastic that's gonna go around all the warmer components of the motor and the actual compressor. It seems to work great. What I want to talk about first before you use this compressor is the break-in period. I know a lot of people miss that. It's very simple. Plug the compressor in. You can turn it on, open up the air vent on the bottom, and just let this guy run for 10 minutes. That will break everything in on the inside, allow it to just work better long term. So this unit is fully broken in. Now, while we were breaking it in, I also wanted to just take some decibel readings inside a closed area so we could see what it's going to be like. They ranged anywhere from 70 to 75 decibels. The first test we want to run with this compressor is going to be from 0 to 200 PSI, so it's first initial fill. We do have a hose connected to it. It's a 60-foot hose. That's going to be something that would be fairly normal. It will add to the time very slightly as it has to fill the hose and the tank, but this is going to be something that normally would happen for most contractors. So let's see what time we get. Three minutes, 25 seconds for an initial fill. Now I do have a leak here in my hose. Interesting. So what I want to find out is what is going to be the recovery time at this point. 3 minutes and 25 seconds isn't bad for an initial startup, but I just want to generally see what's going to happen and how far this PSI is going to come down before everything starts to go back up. As soon as this compressor turns on, we'll start the clock and see what happens. "34 seconds is not bad. It came down to about 160 PSI and then bumped back up. What I'm going to try to do is hold this air nozzle open and see if I can hold 100 PSI going out for a small period of time, just to see how well this keeps up with this amount of draw. So I started this approximately 10 seconds late. So I had 43 seconds of just letting this air nozzle go wide open and this unit trying to keep up to it. That's pretty good considering this is going to be meant to be used for air nailers or any type of around the house use. In being that such a small compressor at 4 CFM, I think it did great. With my fittings fixed and now airtight, we can mess with the regulator a little bit. It seems to work quite well. And when you drop things down, it's very controllable. Like anything, it's nice to have an output meter on this because when you do let some air out of your tool, you need to make your final adjustments to get everything exactly where you want it, to get the right amount of air to your tool. Now, 90% of the time you're gonna run 90 PSI to your air nailers, but this gives you a good option, a good way of setting it. There is no lock on this by pushing in or out, and it does turn fairly easy, especially at lower PSIs. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you're checking this every once in a while, that no one hits it, especially if you're pushing on and off this secondary quick disconnect. You can see it would be fairly easy for someone to just knock this one by grabbing it, and that could change things slightly. Overall, very nice layout with this tool. Let's talk about duty cycle. When sizing up an air compressor for your specific uses, you need to look at the CFM of the tools that you're going to use to see if you're going to exceed its rated capacity. Also look at the amount of gallons in the tank to see if that's going to give you the amount of capacity you need to extend that runtime between the recovery period of the air compressor. Now the duty cycle on this unit is a 50% at 5 minutes. So this unit can run for 5 minutes. Then it needs a 5-minute resting period. So Metabo HPT rates this for 2 framing nailers, 2 roofing nailers, or then multiple finish nailers. And if you go down to 18 gauge, you can run up to 5 off this. Obviously they use less and less air, but make sure that you're not running this for more than that 5-minute period, as you can start to do unnecessary damage to internal components and shorten the life of this unit. Now that is true across the board for any air compressor, everyone is going to have a duty cycle. It's not just this unit. Look it up. It's kind of hidden most of the time because not everybody wants to advertise it, but it is a very important part of picking the right air compressor and having this air compressor last a very long period of time under the use that's needed. So it's fairly simple to pick this stuff up. Look at your tools that you're going to use. You know, look at the SCFM, see what you're going to do, how many tools are going to be run, how often are they going to be run together. It doesn't have to be too complicated. Just try not to exceed what these tools are rated for, and they will last you a long time. Now, this is a great overview of this product, but long term, what you'd want to see and what we want to look at the reviews on is how's this regulator going to hold up and during the abuse on a construction site. Is it going to consistently work? That's important. How long is this motor going to stay together? But when you're reading reviews, you don't know how somebody is treating it. Are they respecting that duty cycle, or are they using this for a larger job than they should? And then from there, what else might break? So if you're reading reviews out there and you want to leave comments from what you've seen and other things as this unit gets older and older, I'd love to hear that. We're going to continue to push this in the shop more and more, and then take it out to the job site, let it do what it's supposed to do, especially on that roofing side. That's going to be very interesting to me. I'm really curious to see how well it's going to do on a larger roofing job. So we're going to check that out. Make sure you watch our YouTube stories for updates. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give us a like on this video. Thanks for your time, guys. Have a great day.